Your brand or your name is simply your reputation. I mean, and you have to fight in life to protect your reputation or protect your brand. I mean, it's
Welcome to Brand Video. Today we are going to talk about one of the brand personality who is fun, adventurous, living a passionate lifestyle, and who is known as the world's irresistible brands. One of the super brand icons who owns more than 400 companies under the brand name of Virgin Group, Sir Richard Branson. Now, how did Richard Branson build his billion-dollar brand and becoming one of the world's top influential brands? Now, how did he end up owning 400 plus companies like Virgin Galactic, Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Cola, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Holidays, and many more? Now, what is the reason? Why did he choose the name of a brand as a Virgin, and what is the main reason, and how did he come up with that particular name? So let's get into the deep and understand what is the principle did Sir Richard Branson follow to build his billion-dollar brand business. So keep watching, stay till the end, so that end of the video you can go ahead and learn so many things and implement in your own brand journey. So get ready, let's go. Richard Branson, born in the year 1950, mother was a flight attendant and his father was working as a lawyer. Now, during his childhood, he was struggling with dyslexia, which was actually interrupting for him in his studies. He was not good at studies. He was actually literally hopeless when it comes to studying. And he was not having that much of interest when it comes to the education part because he was struggling with the dyslexia. Now, during his childhood, once he planted 400 seeds of a Christmas tree, so that assuming that he will be able to grow 400 Christmas trees so that he can sell it during the Christmas and make a profit out of it. So what happened is when he started planting it, after planting 400 seeds, half of the seeds was being eaten by the rabbit. But unfortunately, he was able to recover some of the investment. So that's how he started his journey during his childhood. And also from childhood, if you see his parent, his mother want him to be very much independent. So once while going to his grandma's house 4 miles away, Richard Branson's mother just pushed him out of the car so that he can figure out himself and come to the actual destination. But unfortunately, what happened is he was not able to find out during his childhood. He was not able to get the proper address of his grandma, but he found out and somewhere in somebody else's farmhouse. So that was what his childhood was. So during his school time, one day his headmaster came and he was called him and he just asked him that you are doing something which is related to magazine, student magazine. So if you want to continue doing a student magazine, what you need to do is you have to get out of this particular school and you need to, or either you quit the magazine things so that you can continuously focus on studies, or else you will be getting out of the school. You can continue whatever you want to do. And you know what Richard Branson said? I quit not to the business but to the school. And from that day his magazine became the actual education for him. That's when he started the student magazine. Was the first magazine, the first business venture he started at the age of 15. And after that, during that particular magazine, after selling that particular magazine, then that leads to another business, which was Virgin Records and Virgin Labels, where he used to bring up different singers and he used to help them to get that recording studio so that they can record their music, and then he used to sell particular albums to all over the place. And so one business led to another, and from there he landed up to Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Airlines. So one lead to another, to a second lead to the another. So that's how he was able to own 400 plus of business under the name of a Virgin Group. Isn't that amazing? And not only this, today he lives in one of the island which is called as a Necker Island in one of the British island, where early morning routine, if you see, once he get up, he's the first one, who actually he's the one who actually takes care most of his health. So early morning he just have a healthy breakfast. Before that he go for the kite surfing nearby the beach, and after that sometime he go ahead and to become fitness he play tennis, and he just enjoy his lavish lifestyle. So how did he was able to build his $1 billion brand? So let us go ahead and reveal that particular secret. Okay, let us see what are the things which he followed to build that $1 billion brands. Okay, so let's go. Now here are the key things which Richard Branson followed to build his $1 billion brand personality. Number one, a reason to create a brand. If you want to create any kind of a brand, there is a reason why you want to create a brand, right? Every brand, if you see in today's world, had a reason to create that particular brand. So let us go ahead and dive deep and understand from Richard Branson himself that what was the key reason to build this brand called Virgin. Here we go.
My life, what I've tried to do is create things for a reason. So, Student Magazine I started in order to have a voice, in order to make a difference. Music, I mean, a friend of mine had a tape, absolutely loved his music, but people refused to put it out. He was 15 years old, he played all the instruments himself. So, so I went to the record companies, nobody would put it out. So I decided, well, screw it, let's set up our own record company and put it out. And it actually happened to be very successful. And then since then we started signing other bands that we liked, and we built maybe the most successful independent record label of its time. And particularly excited when we finally signed the Rolling Stones, which was something that
But that wasn't easy, was it, to land them? You tried to land them several times.
I tried to sign them several times, but anyway, don't give up.
Now,
and I think, just throughout my life, the businesses that we've set up have all come from, maybe frustration. I mean, we went into the airline business because, I hated the experience of flying on other people's airlines. I felt, I did fly a lot on other people's airlines, and I felt I could create the kind of airline that I'd like to fly on. Great entertainment, great staff, people, cabin crew that actually smiled, etc., etc. And if I liked it, then other people would like it. And that's, every move that Virgin's made has often come out of a personal, frustration that surely that could be done better than it's been done.
So what is the reason why you want to create a brand? So that is something which you need to ask yourself, because whatever frustration you're going through, whatever challenges you are going through, maybe somebody else is also going through that particular challenges. So how can you solve that particular challenges and make it much better by giving or providing a solution? So that's why you want to create a brand. That can also is a better thing where you can come up with your own brand. Now, one of my reason why I want to create a brand is because I see during my childhood I was struggling with my average personality. I was someone who is introvert, never spoke a word of English with anybody, and I used to get bullied because of my dark skin color in school times. People used to bully me with that skin color. People used to call me in Hindi Kalia, that means a dark complexion. And just because of that, my confidence was very much low, and I was never used to talk to anybody, neither any girls or neither any boys. Hardly I used to speak only to one or two people. And after that, though I studied in an English medium school, I never spoke a word of English, and because of that I was not able to get a proper education. I was not able to I was not confident at all. So after that I was able to work on my own personality, and today I'm very much confident, and this became my reason so that I started helping people like you who is average to becoming a brand personality. So what is your reason? That is something which is very much important. Okay, so let us go ahead and see what is the number two. Now number two is nothing but your brand is your reputation. How can you build your reputation? Because when you have a great reputation as a person, as an individual, that's when you will be able to build your own brand. So let us see what Richard Branson has to say about this.
Your brand or your name is simply your reputation. I mean, and you have to fight in life to protect your reputation or protect your brand. I mean, it's everything. Nothing is more important. But I never thought I was a businessman. I just came across situations where I thought, damn it, we can do better than this. I mean, I was traveling from Puerto Rico to the Virgin Islands one evening, and I had my love of my life waiting for me in the Virgin Islands, and I was 26 years old, and American Airlines bumped us all. They decided to cancel the flight because there weren't enough people for the plane. And I was determined to get there that night, and so I went to the back of the airport, I hired a plane, I borrowed a blackboard, and I wrote on the blackboard $29 single one-way, I called it Virgin, to the Virgin Islands, and then I walked around all the people who were waiting, and I filled up my first plane. When we arrived in the Virgin Islands, somebody put their arm around me and said, sharpen up the service a bit and you could be in the airline business. And it got me thinking, when I got back to the UK, I rang up Boeing and I said, hello, this is Richard Branson. I wonder whether you have a second-hand 747 for sale. And initially they didn't take me very seriously, and I don't blame them. And they started asking me questions. What's the name of your company? I said, Virgin. What are the artists you've got on your record label? We got the Rolling Stones, we got the Sex Pistols, we got. But anyway, in the end, they just said, obviously, with a name like, Virgin, we just hope that, if you do go into the airline business, it will actually go the whole way. But anyway, they sent a salesperson over, and we ended up getting one second-hand 747.
So how did you can build your reputation as a brand? Because your brand is equal to your reputation. So that is something which you need to start building as an individual brand personality. How can you build your reputation? So let us go ahead and see what is that number 3. Number 3 is something which is interesting, that how did a name Virgin that has come up? That is something which we are going to say. And what is the reason, actual reason behind the name of Virgin? Let us go ahead and see. Here we go.
Well, I was 15 years old. And I was sitting around in the basement.
This is really a tell-all, isn't it?
Yeah, there were a number of other young girls, let's call them 16.
Everything was legal.
And one of them jokingly said, "Well, we're all virgins. Why don't?" And laughed and said, "Why don't we call the company Virgin?" And so it was either, we sort of tossed a coin. It was either going to be Slip Disc Records or Slip Disc Airlines. And as you rightfully say, Slip Disc Airlines, I think, or Slip Disc for spaceship companies or whatever, just wouldn't have worked.
So this is how Richard Branson come up with his name called Virgin as a brand at the age of 15. So what is your brand name? So if you already have your brand name, I would love to know what is your brand name. You can comment below, or if you are in the verge of coming up the brand name, also you can put on what all options you have and what is the story behind your brand. Okay, so let us go ahead and see what is the number 4. Okay, so the number 4 is what helped Richard Branson to build his billion-dollar brand industry is nothing but he was so much passionate about solving somebody's problem, and that's how he was able to create business out of it. So the easiest way is, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about anything, and how can you turn that passion into building a business? So let us go ahead and see from Richard Branson how to turn your passion into a business brand. Here we go.
Think about it. Well, I think, most people listening to this show know what their passion is, and it could be a hobby, it could be They could love reading, they could love playing tennis, they'll have passions. And if you have a passion, it makes sense to spend a lot of your life involved in that passion. And quite often you can turn your passion into a business. You can see that maybe there's some aspect of your passion that people are not doing that well, and you can say, screw it, I could do it better. And I think if you spend your life with your eyes open, looking for things that frustrate you, looking for gaps in the market, that's all a business is. It's fulfilling that, filling in a gap and doing it better than it's been done by anybody else. People who don't have closed minds will most likely find those opportunities. Now, I suspect there will be 100 people who will have come up with that idea before you, but those 100 people, won't have had the courage just to go and do something about it. So, so it's those few people who just say, right, I'm going to give it a go, that often end up, being successful.
So as you see how passionate he was, like how you can start turning your passion into building a brand. And at the same time, if you see that so many of them, they get so many ideas, but the one who becomes successful and build a brand out of it is the one who has that courage to execute, to implement that particular idea. So that is what all make a huge difference. So let us go ahead and see what is the next thing. So the next is the number 5, and the number 5 is standing out from the crowd. Now, how did Richard Branson stand out from the crowd? That is what we are going to see. So there are so many times Richard Branson has done it, very number of times I would say, and this is what makes Richard Branson as an adventurous brand personality. So he is known for doing so many crazy things, and when it comes to doing some kind of a stunts or anything, so there are so many times he has done out of the way and crazy things, like during his promoting of his book, which is related to business, stripped bare, that was something which was a book name. So during that kind the promotion of that particular book, what he did is he come up with a campaign where he sent 4 to 5 people around the streets where they were wearing all the suits, and bottom they were naked, like they were wearing their not the regular pants, but the one who wear that boxers or the inners, and what shows that which is related to the book title, Business Stripped Bare. So that kind of a promotion he was doing, where people were walking around the streets and going and giving the visiting cards, promoting the book of Richard Branson. Not only this, there was a time where he did a stunt which was getting into the hot air balloon, and with that particular hot air balloon, he was traveled the entire the Pacific Ocean, and but during that particular stunt, he again it did help him to come up with a Guinness Book World Record by doing that particular stunts by marketing Virgin brand. But at the same time, after some time, that particular he dropped into an ocean, and through the ship and the helicopters he was able to rescue. And apart from this, this is not a one or twice he did stunt. In one of his Virgin Atlantic 10th anniversary, he came up and he started promoting his Virgin Atlantic brand for the 10th anniversary with his jet ski around the water and marketing it. And there are so many times he had come up with different kind of a stunts, and also during some kind of the competition with the Virgin brands, he thought like how for his Virgin Cola brands, how he can thrash out the Coca-Cola brand when it comes to the Coke. So he did come up once that he come up with the tanks and thrashing all the Pepsi's cans and all the Coca-Cola cans in front of the Times Square, and that led to come up him in the front page, that led to make his brand more popular, that led to, but though that campaign again he lost that particular thing because there was a lot of issues he has to go through after doing those kind of stunts. So one of the aspect, if you see as Richard Branson, he was very much adventurous. When it comes to building his brand, he used to go out of the way to do some crazy things, and that actually helped him to stand out from the crowd. And this is something which I love about Richard Branson as well, like how he was able to stand out from the crowd. So though he had done so many, like, hundreds of stunts, but were all the 100+ stunts was successful? No, not at all. But the 10, the 20, the 30 stunts which he was able to do by doing the crazy things, and which helped him to stand out from the crowd, that actually took his brand to the next level, to building his $1 billion brand. So what comes into your mind when it comes to doing crazy things to promote your products or services, or maybe your brand? Comment below. I would love to listen to you. I would love to read your comment, like what kind of ideas do you have? Okay, so let us go now see what is the number 6 which helped Richard Branson to build his $1 billion brand. Number 6, be a good delegator. So building a brand, a $1 billion brand, it's not that easy, but owning 400+ companies under the same brand as a Virgin Group, this is one of the skill which actually helped him to take his brand to the next level, is becoming a good delegator. So let us go ahead and see what Richard Branson has to say how to become a good delegator. Here we go.
I realized that the importance of delegation. So the moment you've got more than one company, you have to learn, you have to delegate, and it's very important that you find people to run your companies who are wonderful motivators of people, who look for the best in people, who praise and don't criticize, and who just genuinely care about people, and that's the kind of people that run the various Virgin companies. It's very important that I don't try to second guess those people. I mean, you've got to give them the freedom to make mistakes as well as to make good things, and hopefully I'm good at that. At the same time,
So to become a good delegator, that is something which is very much important if you want to create a $1 billion brand, right? And having a dyslexic, Richard Branson was struggling with the dyslexic, and that actually helped, that it gives him an advantage to give it to somebody else, so that that person can do based on his expertise. So one should become a good delegator. Now let us see what is the number 7 which helped him to build a $1 billion brand industry. And number 7 is again a very key important things building a brand like a Virgin Group, is attention to details. So how much attention are you putting out on your brand so that it can stand out from the crowd? That is very much important. And let us go ahead and see what Richard Branson has to say when it comes to attention to details.
in time, if I'm, when I'm traveling the world, I do go out and visit all the various Virgin companies, and I do, make lists of, sometimes quite minute little things, and I think it's getting all those little things right that make for an exceptional airline or an exceptional health club or an exceptional train company, or it's the moment management start getting lazy and they let those little things starting slip that you just become a chain of hotels or a big chain of restaurants. You've got to run your companies as if you are you know, in a very personal way, and make sure that all those little details are sorted. And by sorting all those little details, and then you're giving your staff the tools to do the job well. Your staff can then be proud of the job they're doing. They can be proud of the brand they're working for. They can go out in the pubs in the evenings, and everybody, all their friends, are proud of them because they work for that particular company that really excels. And the whole thing is a self-fulfilling and you know.
So this attention to details what actually makes you a popular brand, because it doesn't matter what, even if you are doing anything, any kind of a product or services, or building any kind of a company, or maybe the same niche or the same audience or the same product or services, so you have some of the competitors, but what will make you stand out from the crowd is that attention to details, which is going to help you to build that brand and you will be able to stand as a very influential brand. Now let us see what is that number 8. Now the number 8 is, you got to be a good listener. As a brand, you need to listen to somebody's feedback, listen to the reviews what customer gives, listen to somebody, maybe if they say that this kind of a behavior which I am able to see which is not good, maybe you can change. So being a good listener is also very, very much important while building your brand journey. And let us go ahead and see what Richard Branson has to say about this.
I think the best leaders are the best listeners. I think people who get out and people who get out and listen, the best, we've got a wonderful organization of elders that we work with, and they're fantastic listeners. So I'm listening all the time. I'm taking notes all the time. I'm listening in particular from the people who work with me, because they know what's going on. They know the feedback from the customers. If I fly on a Virgin airline, I make sure I don't, sit. I'm up and walking about, meeting all the customers, meeting all the staff, taking notes, making sure, that the next day I deal with those notes. If I'm down route in San Francisco, where I will be tonight, I'll make sure that I go to the same bar that the staff drink at, and by the end of the evening, if I haven't taken those notes, I won't remember the next morning what they told me. But it's very, very important to be a good listener.
So it's very much important to be a good listener, a listener to your customer, listener to somebody, maybe your colleagues, your employees, and listening to somebody who has experience. Not only that, but listening to somebody not seen as a designation, but yes, just listen, what the others has to say, because that will be very helpful for you to build your brand journey. Now, imagine that you have a brand, or you are going to build a brand, but you are someone who don't want to come in front of the camera, or maybe you don't want to come in the front page, or you don't want to be you want to be a faceless. Do you think you will be able to make an influential brand, or do you think the brand will be more successful? So that is what we are going to see is number 9, giving a face to the brand, and why it is very much important to give a face to your brand. Let us go ahead and see right now.
Serious answer. I think that that Steve Jobs and myself have spent our lifetimes building a global brand, a brand that I set out to build the most respected brand in the world, not necessarily the biggest brand, and I suspect Apple's ahead of us at the moment, but we'll see how we go. So I think the brand, both the Virgin brand, the Apple brand, they're brands that stand on their own, and they no longer need the Steve Jobs and the Richard Bransons to help push them forward. I think companies do benefit from having front people, and so at Virgin we'll try to maybe my daughter, maybe my son, maybe somebody else will take the baton forward and be the face of Virgin, because I think it's good to have a face. I think people relate to companies that have a face, and it's sad that with Steve Jobs, his kids are very young, and maybe Apple won't they won't have a face, so it'll be a little bit more difficult for them. But I'm sure that the team at Apple will do everything they can to try to make sure his legacy continues for many years to come.
So this is why it is very much important to give a face to your brand, because end of the day, people buy you first and then your product or services, whatever you have to offer, right? So they want to see that in whose hand, what I would be getting, who is that person who is actually running the show, who is the man who is at the front page. So it is very much important to give a face to the brand, and compared to faceless as a brand, that will not become more influential or more popular. So if you're someone who is in the journey of building your brand, you have to give your face to the brand so that it will become highly influential and you can build a very popular brand. Okay, so we are coming into the end of this particular video. Let us go ahead and see what is the last thing Richard Branson has to say to build his billion-dollar brand industry. Is that something which is you need to protect your brand. Now, how can you protect your brand? That is very much important, because there is a lot of effort, energy has gone to build this brand personality, to build a brand. For some it will take years, or for some it will take decades for building that reputation, for building that particular brand. But it is so much of important that how can one protect your brand so that you can that brand can live forever as a legacy. So this is what Richard Branson has to say when it comes to how can you protect your brand name. Let's go.
Well, how you go about protecting it is a really, really good question. I mean, we like to think that the Virgin brand is synonymous with quality, with good value, with fun, with innovation, and we won't go into a new business unless we feel it's going to have all those attributes and it's going to actually enhance all the Virgin brands that have come before it. How do you protect it? We try to make sure that we run our company ethically, that we don't make any moves where if we're going to wake up and if we make a move that that we'll be embarrassed about, if we read about it in a newspaper, we just won't do it. So we imbue that in all the managing directors around the world, and there will be mistakes, and I think the brand is big enough to cope with the occasional mistakes, as long as we move incredibly quickly and we admit there's a mistake. I mean, we're in the transportation business. I mean, thank God, in 28 years we've never had an airline accident. We had a train crash, which was actually no fault of our own, but some of the track which we didn't control was loose. I was on a skiing holiday. Made absolutely certain that I found a plane that got me to the accident within 2.5 hours of the accident, to meet the passengers, to go to the hospital, to confront it head on, and so how you manage a difficult situation like that. I even had to, there was one person killed in the accident. I had to go to the morgue to comfort the relatives, and and I think people appreciated the fact that I'd taken that trouble. So confronting head on a problem like that is very important, I think.
So this is very much important that when it comes to protecting your brand name, because end of the day it all shows that who you are as a person is very much important to create the brand around it. And this is what I also teach to my mentees, that your ethics, your values needs to be aligned, and because end of the day people are going to buy people, right? So that is what is all about. You need to have that kind of an ethics, you need to have that kind of a value, and also at the same time it is very much important that whom you are surrounded with, whom you are associated with as a brand is also very much important, and it has a very great impact on your brand journey as well, right? So these are the 10 things which Richard Branson has followed to build his billion-dollar brand industry. So which one are you going to implement, and which one was your favorite? You can go ahead and comment below. So finally we are into the end of this particular video, right? So what did you learn from Richard Branson is very much important when it comes to building your own individual brand. And at the same time, after watching this complete video, now you got a complete clear picture how you can build your brand as well from scratch, so that what all things you can imbibe in you so that you can create that as an individual brand personality, right? So if you want me to go ahead and come up with this kind of a videos and make this kind of a videos for different brand personalities, go ahead and comment below with the name that whom, so that I can go ahead and do a research about it and come up video like this, which is going to help you to end of the day become an individual as a brand personality. Okay, so until then you can keep working on your brand, okay, and share your key takeaways. And if you really found this video helpful, go ahead and click that like button, and also do not forget to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Please go ahead and do it right now. Subscribe to this, where I'm going to bring out lot more of case studies of different brand personalities, so that we can learn from these kind of a personalities how they have built the multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar, million-dollar brands, so that end of the day you can also become one of the powerful influential brand. So until then, keep working on your brand, and do not forget that you are a $1 million brand. Goodbye.